Finally, Ukrainians slammed through Russian defenses in the south of Bakhmut and ambushed a big group of Russian forces, who are now reportedly victoriously retreating. A pretty major settlement to the south of Bakhmut, Andriivka, is reportedly under the control of Ukrainians, and now Russians are at a great risk of being surrounded. But more about all of this in just a couple of minutes. What's up, investors? It's the Russian dude. And let's get straight to the point and talk about some ridiculous Russian propaganda. So, shamans. Russians have shamans. That's right. Shamans from Tuva won this settlement in some far north of Russia. They reportedly blessed Russian forces long time ago, but as you can see, it did not help them much. And this news was on the Russian federal channels. They even mentioned that shamans, they routinely do these sanctifications and blessings, but it was recently when this one ritual felt extraordinarily good. Apparently, once again, it never worked. And well, I'm not sure if there is a Ministry of Shamanism somewhere within the Russian government, but because they failed, right now they will most likely go straight to jail. But wait a second, I just thought about this right now. What instead of blessing the Russian forces, these shamans try to curse those opposing Russia? That could be a pretty interesting theory. What do you think? And so yeah, just in case if you don't want to be cursed by Russian shamans, you need to write a comment. Shamans, go straight to jail. And just to make sure that this will work, you can also please like this video and subscribe to my channel for double protection. You can also check my second channel, The Russian Dude Clips, where I post under 1-minute summaries every single day. The link is down below. Alright, so now please allow me to present you an extremely quick segment about the Western military support to Ukraine, then we'll go to the south of the country and talk about another potential escalation on Zaporozhye Nuclear Power Plant, before finalizing everything in the east of Ukraine, talking about the situation in Bakhmut, Russians victoriously retreating in order to avoid potential encirclement. And so yes, first of all, we have the country of Spain, which is pledging 4 Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine, 10 armored personnel carriers, 10 other military trucks, and some other ammunition. Then we have a German company, Rheinmetall, which is pledging 2 additional air defense systems Skynex to Ukraine as well. Next we have the United States of America, which is preparing yet another $400 million support package to Ukraine, which will include mini reconnaissance drones, Hornets, missiles for HIMARS and NASAMS, also Stinger and Javelin systems, armored vehicles, Strikers, and 28 million rounds of ammunition. And ultimately, despite Russians always blaming Ukrainians for begging for Western military equipment, Ukrainians, they do produce their own things. Such as, for example, this brand new drone, reconnaissance drone Sergey, which can detect the enemy's position within 65 kilometers range. And well, as always, what is the response and the activities by Russians? Well, the Minister of Defense of Russia, Sergey Shoigu, along with his most trusted advisors, they were sent to North Korea. And no, they were not sent there to work in the labor camps. They were sent there to do some cooperation with their North Korean товарищи. And I mean, yes, in the eyes of the Russian propaganda, this will probably equalize everything that the West sends to Ukraine. Just this one trip to North Korea. Alright, so now yeah, let's go to the south of Ukraine and talk about the new potential escalation around Zaporozhye Nuclear Power Plant, before going to the east and talking about the situation around Bakhmut. But first of all, we have to make a stop in Zakarpattia, where recently a bridge collapsed, because the bridge was only suitable for 7 tons of military vehicles or any other vehicles passing through, and there was a truck carrying sand, which weight was approximately 45 tons. The Russian propaganda immediately blamed Ukrainian corruption. What a hypocritical blame, okay? They immediately blamed the Ukrainian corruption for collapsing this bridge, but I mean, it is just pure physics. You have 7 tons maximum allowed weight, and then you have 45 tons passing through. There was no way this bridge was gonna stand. Next we have the report by the Institute for the Study of War, which claims that the main combat activities in the south are happening between Zaporozhye and Donetsk regions and also in the western Zaporozhye region. And then we also have this video of a Ukrainian soldier defending their positions. One of them got injured, but he still continued to repel Russian attacks, eliminating some of them. The full video is very heroic and, to be honest, inspirational. That is why if you want to see the full version, it will be on my Patreon. The link is down below. Next we get closer to Kherson city, and reportedly Ukrainians were able to destroy an entrenched Russian position located approximately in this small island, as you can see, located between left and right banks of Kherson region. And then, as we move a little bit to the east, Ukrainians were also able to destroy a Russian air defense system called Buk, located next to Zaporozhye. And speaking about Zaporozhye Nuclear Power Plant, which is right to the north of this area, reportedly the International Atomic Energy Agency finally was able to find the evidence of Russian terroristic actions, such as mines laying around this nuclear power plant. And just for a quick context, in the past this International Atomic Energy Agency, they said that we do not see any evidence of the Russian aggression against the power plant. But every single time they were saying this, they were privately escorted by Russian soldiers only in the places which they wanted them to see. So obviously Russians will not show them any signs of weapon, ammunition or explosives lying around. Well, now they did. And ultimately, right here we have a new picture from this small settlement called Zherebyanki, which is located right next to these front lines, and for the last several months there were heavy artillery battles between both countries. And as you can see, for example, in this photo, these are the Russian trenches, just how many artillery holes there are surrounding these defense fortifications. And just overall, according to the representative of Ukrainian military Alexander Tarnavsky, Ukrainians in the last several days were able to destroy 20 concentration of Russian forces, 3 ammunition warehouses, and advance a total of 1.4 kilometers in Berdyansk direction. But okay, and now as promised, let's talk about the situation in the east of Ukraine, massive success of Ukrainians to the south of Bakhmut, and Russians who are victoriously retreating in order to avoid the potential encirclement. And first of all, as we refer to the report by the Institute for the Study of War, Russians intensified their offensive once again along Kupiansk-Svatove-Kreminna front line, and then as you can see from this map, they achieved pretty big success to the west of Svatove. But Ukrainians, on the other hand, were concentrating the majority of their attacks to the north and the south of Bakhmut. In addition to that, Ukrainians were able to intercept one of major Russian helicopters K-52 Alligator in Donbass region previously. And besides that, a Russian self-propelled system called Pion has also been destroyed by Ukrainians. But wait, there is more, yet another piece of electronic warfare system of Russians has also been destroyed by Ukrainians. And just overall, in the last 24 hours in the eastern front lines alone, 4 control points, 3 air defense systems, 9 artillery systems and 4 electronic warfare systems of Russians have been destroyed by Ukrainians. But without a doubt, the most significant, massive success of Ukrainians recently is that they're able to ambush a very big group of Russians next to Bakhmut, as you can see from this video, which to be honest is more than 6 minutes long, and it shows a total destruction of this, not even destruction, obliteration of these Russian forces. The full video, unfortunately, is not going to be allowed on YouTube once again for obvious reasons. The full version is on my Patreon, the link is down below, and there's still 1 week of free access. And besides that, according to the General Staff of Ukraine, Ukrainians achieved a pretty good progress next to Orikhovo-Vasilievka to the north of Bakhmut, and then also next to Klishchiivka to the south of the same city. But most importantly, according to once again General Staff of Ukraine, is that Ukrainians were able to knock out Russian defenses out of Andriivka, which is not yet confirmed by this map, and they were also able to advance closer to Kurdyumivka, and both these settlements are pretty big, which are located to the south of Bakhmut, which in the future Ukrainians will use to launch their offensive from the south. It has even been stated by the representative of Ukrainian army, Sergey, is that in case Ukrainians will be able to establish full control of Andriivka, Kurdyumivka, and most likely Klishchiivka, this can significantly improve the situation on the eastern front lines, because just once again, this is where Ukrainians will launch their offensive and start marching towards Bakhmut from the south, in addition to those Ukrainians who are currently sitting in Orekha-Vasilievka and who can also start going towards Bakhmut from the north, passing through Krasna Hora, located right here. And as you can see, those remaining Russians in Bakhmut are at a great risk of being encircled. That is why if they want to save their lives, they need to start running, or how they like to call it, victoriously retreating or advancing backwards. They need to start doing it as soon as possible. And even though Bakhmut might not be the most strategically or logistically important city in the entire east, just Ukrainians recapturing it will do a significant morale damage to the Russian army and specifically to Putin's regime, who tried his best to sell this victory to the Russian people. Which means that as soon as Russians surrender Bakhmut and they will not be able to show any achievements anywhere else, this will be pretty much a dead end for Putin. He will no longer be able to find the appropriate words to explain the situation in Ukraine. And this is when hopefully Russian people will start asking the right questions. Once again, this will hopefully happen sooner rather than later. And if you don't want to miss any of these updates, because I'm trying my best to find the most relevant and the freshest information possible and deliver it right to you. And if you don't want to miss any of these major updates in the near future, just please once again consider subscribing to my channel. It only takes one click. The absolutely best way to support my work is through my Patreon. You can also become my channel member and unlock channel perks, or simply use a PayPal link. Everything can be found to the right and down below. Thank you so much for attention, товарищи, and see you tomorrow.